Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to create the styling for our quiz using CSS. So this is the HTML for the quiz. So we're going to use some of the IDs and classes defined for this HTML document to style the quiz. So let me switch to my CSS. So this is a blank CSS. We don't need that. That was just a label so that I know what file this is. So this is where I will be creating the styling for the quiz. The way it's going to work so that this lecture doesn't take too much time, I will pre-write the code, add the code, and then explain it, so you don't have to watch me type all the time. I have added some code here. Line 1, basically I'm using the import. Basically what this is, I am going to use the font, a font called Rocket, a font family called Rocket, and I'm getting that from Google. All right, so that's where I'm saying here, get this font from Google. So you have to import it before you can use it. So that's what I've done in line 1. Line 2 is the selector that I'm going to be styling. So basically I'm saying the H1, which is the heading. These are the styling I am applying to it. The font family, I'll be using the Rocket from Google. And I've also got a substitute font called Serif. So if the Rocket is not available, it will default to the second option. Always good to specify more than one font when you are declaring a font family property. Line 4 is a text align property where I want the text to be centered. Line 5 is the color I've set and use a hex value there. Line 6 is basically the size of the font or the text for that H1 selector. I have added another chunk of code from line 8 to line 21. Line 8 is a UL selector, which means unordered list. So the styling I'm giving it is that I don't want any style. That is no bullets, nothing. That's what that means. List style property, I've set that to none. So there will be no numbering or no bullets for that unordered list items. Line 11 to 15 is the actual LI list, which is you use the LI to list the item. All right, so the LI selector, specify the font family of Rocket and Serif, font size of 2M. You can use M or you can use pixels. The color, I've set that to a hex value. Line 16 to 20 is the input selector where the type is a radio. So when you select the questions, you need to select which of the radio buttons. So I've set that to set the properties on this one. The border, I've set it to 0 pixels. The width, 20 pixels. The height, again, I've used M's here. So you can use pixels if you like. But you can, it depends on which ones you are comfortable with, M or pixels, you can use either. I have added some more styling here from line 23 to 35. So I'll start with line 23 to 25 first. So that I'm using the P selector here. The P selector is what was styling. And the styling I've applied to is the font family is going to use Rocket, and serif will be the substitute font. Line 26 is a comment. That's how you specify a comment in CSS. So that line of code will be ignored because it is a comment. Line 27 is a class. So this is a class called quiz container. So the listed are the styling from 28 to 34, giving it a background color using the hex value. The border radius property I've set to 8 pixels. Border radius is what gives it a kind of like a rounded corner. The width I've set to 75%, so it will be 75% of the parent container. So whatever container the quiz container is in, it will take 75% of the width of that container. That's what that means. Again, you could use pixels if you are more comfortable with pixels. Line 31 is the margin. I've set it to auto, which means it will automatically center the quiz container. Okay, auto means it will center it on the page. That's what it means. Margin from the top, that means from the top I want it to move down 190 pixels. The padding, margin is the space outside, while padding is the space inside the element. So I've set them to 190 pixels and 5 pixels respectively. The position, I've set the position to relative. I have added some more properties and their values. Line 38, I've added a class called next button. So the styling I have used for the next button class, start with line 39, which is the border radius. I've set that to 6 pixels, width 150 pixels, height 40 pixels. Text align, I've set it to center, so I want the button to be center. Background color, I've set it, use the hex value. Again, you can use the color name if you know the color name, but hex values are okay as well. Here line 44 is just a comment, so that code will be ignored. Line 45 is a color, which refers to the color of the actual text. 46 is the font family. Again, I'm using Rocket and Serif. 47, the font weight, it refers to how thick the font will be, so I've set that to bold. Position, I've set it to relative. Margin to auto. Padding from the top 20 pixels. Okay, I can get rid of 44. I was using that to test a few things, so I can get rid of that. Don't need that now. I have added another class which is called question. That's from line 51 to 61. So I've already gone through some of these properties with previous styling on this file, so I'm not going to go too deep because I'll just be repeating myself. So a lot of this styling we have used before, so it's just the same thing, height, width, and so on. So I'm not going to run through that because I've done that with the other class. I have added another class here called quiz message, and these are the styling I've given that class. Again, I'm not going to run through it because it's the same thing like I've done before with the other classes. So basic, the only difference here I've not used the hex value, I've used the actual color name. I have added a couple more classes. Lines 72 to 75 is the choice list class. So that's obviously where you make your selection for the quiz answers. So again, similar thing. The only difference here, the font family is slightly different. I've used Courier and Serif. Color, I've set it to blue violet. Again, 77 to 86. There's another class called result. And the values, properties and values I've specified are self-explanatory. It's similar to what we've gone through before in this lecture for this file. Okay, so again, ideally weight, height, everything we've mentioned before. But if there's any part of this lecture you're not familiar with, or if you're not sure about any of the styling, please feel free to let me know. I'll be more than happy to explain further. So I will just save this document and then we can review our page and see what the document looks like after the styling have been applied. So this is what the page looks like at the moment. But when we are doing our JavaScript series, we're going to use JavaScript to make it more interactive. So that's it for this lecture. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.